Louise and I'm the Assistant Stage Manager of Bird's Eye View Theatre Company, and today I want to show you how to create a backing track using Sibelius. Enjoy!
Hello and happy Easter! Today I thought I'd show you a little bit of how I'm creating Till We Meet Again, a backing track which we're going to be using in our performance. It's by American composer Richard A. Whiting and was written in 1918. We're doing it as a waltz in the performance, and it's quite a slow beat, which is very good for a waltz, but it is actually slightly faster in the tempo than you would have a normal waltz, which is usually about 90 beats per minute, but this one is 100 beats per minute. However, the tune is mostly composed of crotchets and minims, which makes it feel a lot slower. It's written in A flat major and is in a 3/4 time signature, which is why it can be waltzed. To create this, I am using Sibelius, a program where you can input music into a stave in more or less any instrument, and definitely in any key signature, time signature, whatever you want really. It's very easy to use once you know how to input the notes. For this particular version of it, I am using this keyboard, which is 2 octaves long and has the option to change the octave in order to create higher and lower pitches. When I'm starting to input it, I usually prefer to input the right hand first, so that if I play it back, I can usually hear the main melody line. Although the piano part doesn't always contain the exact notes that's contained within the melody, it often goes very well alongside it. So in this instance, if you're familiar with the tune, then you'll instantly recognise the melody part played by the piano. However, although the right hand contains a lot of the melody, the real depth comes from the left hand, which is the second thing I input. I usually like to do a section at a time, so the introduction and then the first verse, and then I'll do the first chorus. And I'll do the right hand first, followed by the left hand, followed by any other things that need to be inputted, such as extra text for lyrics or any expression or technique that needs to be used. So in this instance, slowly at the top and a few ties throughout the introduction. Now if I add in the right hand, you can hear that it has a lot more depth to the sound quality, and the way in which the left hand is structured with this sort of pa pa is really key to doing the waltz, so you can hear the first beat of each bar. I find that it's really important to listen back to what I've inputted at a regular intervals really, because it's so easy to make a mistake by putting a natural or a flat or a sharp in the wrong place, especially if you're inputting it on the keyboard and it doesn't quite register, or it registers a different note if your fingers slip. So in this case I can always select notes and raise them, lower them, depending on if I've misread the text or if it's just an accident. In sometimes when you're inputting it, if you're inputting a lot of flats or a lot of sharps, it registers it as the opposite note. For example, if I try and register an F flat, it will just register as an E. But trying to stay true to the original manuscript, I want it to look the same, and it also makes more sense within the key signature that it's in order to look right with the chords. For example, with these 2 bars here, it's actually 1 bar split into 2, so usually you'd have 3 beats in a bar, as this one does, as demonstrated by the dotted minim. This one only has a minim in it, and this one has a dotted quaver and a semiquaver. And as it's split up, it means that you can see the tune coming through as a pickup beat. So if I just play this bit, you can hear that although it isn't on the first beat of the bar, it is important to leading into the main tune. It's really important to create our own backing track, especially with a program like Sibelius, where you can control the speed of it. And it's of key importance when you're doing a waltz that you've got a very rhythmic beat, so you know when to go on the first beat of each bar. And if you have pauses frequently throughout it, it becomes very difficult to match the rhythm to the movement that you're doing with your feet. And especially when we've been practicing with recordings of this, because it's such a slow song where there are lots of glide, it's difficult to stay in control of where you're stepping, because when you need to pause, it's almost like you're hesitating too much. So once you've got a steady beat, it's a lot easier to dance to. Although it is a fairly long process, I do enjoy putting it into Sibelius because it is quite relaxing, and you're also creating music, and even though it's not your own piece of music, it does feel very organic in the way that you're creating it, and you're understanding the structure and the way in which the chords are made up and how each section flows into the other. One interesting thing that I did notice when inputting music for some of the other backing tracks was that harmonies became more apparent as you're inputting the music, as you might have, but at the same time there could be an alto singing, or even, you know, it could be very varied in what the tune could be for the harmony parts. But if you have chords and you can see what they look like, it is a lot easier to create multiple layers of vocals. And it's especially important in our group where we have a huge variety of voices, from singing amazing alto parts to very high soprano parts. And by looking at the sheet music, we can increase our understanding of the piece so much more, and by doing this we can create a much varied interpretation of our song. Well, that's all from me, and I should probably get back to inputting the rest of this. I'm only about a third of the way through, so a little bit more to go. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Please come back again for more updates on what we'll be doing, and hopefully I'll see you at our performance. Bye!